CAZ and Quantum. We've seen a lot of Hunbat's prioritization early on here, Taco. And CAZ, they first picked it. It was actually first picked against them last time. Do you think we see them go for it here?
I'm not necessarily certain that they would opt for the bots. I mean, it's a top priority pick at the moment, but you also have to consider the Cabrakan that's potentially on the table. Fafnir is also a highly sought-after support, but Quantum sticking it true to the books and just eliminating those mages.
Yeah, taking away Zeus from Alexum, one of his signature gods. He's been in the mid lane for quite some time in the European SCL. Odin was the ban from CAZ, taking that away from Quantum. Certain teams just have players that love to play the Odin. I mean, Wolves is the first one that comes to mind in North America for Astral Authority. There are some guys that you just cannot give Odin to.
It's a very safe pick as well. You have to consider that there's a lot of sustained compositions that seem to be sought after, especially in EU. So if you can eliminate that aspect with an Odin, that's an easy cleanup every time.
Susano going to be the other band there for CAZ, and Robin for Quantum. So Cabrakan is open, and overpowered USB played that very, very well last time around in the solo lane for CAZ, but Kerninos as well is open. It didn't get picked for them last time, and it is going to be the Chang'e first pick here. So we're talking about sustained picks. CAZ immediately knew what they wanted.
EU just absolutely loves the Chang'e. It's a slight flex pick, although I'd imagine typically we'd expect to see this going towards the jungle. It can be played in the mid lane, potentially even solo lane, but we haven't seen a whole lot of that.
No, I would definitely expect this going to Geron in that jungle. I mean, that's where this character has seen the most success as of late, though a little bit in the mid lane, specifically when matched up against Poseidon with that 2 getting you out of the Kraken. And Quantum, they're going to answer back with a Kerninos, the character that is brand new to the competitive scene, has been seen a lot, at least was seen a lot at SMITE Masters, very heavily prioritized in that Hunter role.
Both of these picks are so incredibly strong early on. Plus, you're pairing that with the bots. You can never really go wrong with the AoE presence that's provided by both of these gods already.
Yeah, tons of teamfight disruption between Fear No Evil and the Wild Hunt. Good luck getting out of those gigantic AoEs that really disrupt in the middle of the team fight. Solid team fighting draft coming out of Quantum thus far. CAZ, they're looking to answer back with something a little bit more team fighty of their own, I'd imagine. Right now, they're looking to go straight pick, actually. Neath could be in the mid lane, could be in the Hunter role. Alexum, I believe, has played it before in that mid lane, and just trying to synergize with that that global ultimate. All of a sudden, you've got gank potential all across the map, and it is going to be Fafnir once more for the CAZ Esports support.
I think I would prefer to see that Neath going towards Alexum in the mid lane role, simply because not only do they have the lane pressure in the mid lane, if that's Jerome on the Chang'e, but you also have to consider that Neath doesn't really fare too well against a Kern, and I would not want to be on the other end of that matchup.
Yeah, Neath, one of those hunters that sees very little play in the dual lane right now, and Kerninos is the hunter to play in the dual lane. So you've got a little bit of a disparity there if that's where the Neath is going. Osiris going to be the solo lane selection here for Quantum Esports. So quite a bit of pressure on that right side of the map early on, and Kern can do it all game long, basically.
Yeah, you just never really have a weak point that you need to be concerned about with a Kern. And then on top of that, I really like the Osiris pick actually from Quantum. When you have so much solo lane pressure from the get-go, it really allows your boss to have the flexibility of, do I want to try and provide a little bit of invade pressure onto this Chang'e jungle, maybe shut her down early. That seems to be the ideal strategy for a lot of teams whenever they have that potential threat of the Chang'e.
And you've got that anti-heal on the ultimate from the Lord of the Afterlife, going to shut down all the healing coming out of Chang'e. So a strong pick there out of the solo lane for sure. Couple Guardians banned away by Quantum, knowing that that solo laner overpowered USB already played a Guardian last time around. Cabrakan, the one he picked, and then Sobek, another one. And then Bologna and the Morrigan here, banned away by CAZ. CAZ banned away the Morrigan game 1 as well. This is a character they clearly just don't want to go up against.
I would not want to fare against the Morrigan either, especially not when the enemy team already has a bot selection on the table. I mean, it doesn't matter whether it was CAZ with the bots or Quantum. When you have 2 potential bots ultimates coming out for one team, that's probably one of the most annoying things in the world.
Good luck dealing with that. Athena going to be the selection there for the support player for Quantum. Used very, very well last time around up against CAZ, so they're going to try and do the exact same thing. Still going to be a Guardian in that solo lane. Xing Chen going to be the selection for CAZ, and now a Hu Yi. So double Hunter with the Fafnir composition here. This is a strong comp out of CAZ.
What's really nice about Quantum's composition, though, to combat this, is that they have a very strong initiating composition. CAZ is looking more for the counter engage, and I think that that's an ideal strategy for them to prioritize, especially when you consider that Quantum has so much follow-up potential from the Athena taunts, from a bot's ultimate initiation, and that's exactly what you'd want to look for in a team when you're trying to face off against somebody like CAZ.
It's going to be Ra, the last pick there for Quantum, answering back with a little bit of sustain of their own. in that mid lane. And while I like that idea, you have to keep in mind that if Jeron were to go anti-heal on this Chang'e, buying the Divine Ruin, that means that 3 is doing 90% anti-heal. That is a lot. I mean, and that's without, you know, a Curse Donk or anything like that. Just one anti-heal item could really shut down the healing out of Sir Duckbot early on.
I think a lot of players would also just agree in general when it comes to mages that Chang'e tends to be on the more favorable end of these healer matchups when you think about Chang'e, Ra, Aphrodite. And so it's really interesting, especially since Jerome will have the ability to provide so much pressure onto Sir Duckbot.
And he doesn't, it's not the big burst heal of the Hell or the Aphrodite to single target. It's more about the constant chip of healing, kind of similar to Guan Yu with that Conviction, where you can just consistently heal up your team and you can really start to underestimate just how much healing the enemy team is getting. CAZ and Quantum going to go at it here. Remember, though, both these teams, again, trying to defend their SCL spots here in the summer relegations. CAZ, they're 1-0 so far today. Quantum 0-1. So this game very, very important for Quantum if they want to secure their spot back in the summer split.
And already Quantum's looking for the early game aggression immediately. I mean, when you have an Osiris, that's just guaranteed to happen facing off against solo lanes like Qingten.
Alexum tried to steal away that speed buff, but was unable to do so. Malloy's going to secure that for his team. Alexum and Jeron are going to hit level 2, courtesy of these back camps, but the overall experience lead is going to be in Quantum's favor because of how many buffs they've got to take on that right-hand side. Overpowered USB, he doesn't really care about his own blue buff. He knew that was gone as soon as Mango Man was playing that Osiris. But needs to be careful here with this rotation coming in from Malloy's and Mango Man. Does have the jump away, so he's going to be safe for the time being.
But look at that mana bar already onto overpowered USB. He just has no options, really, when it comes to safe clearing. He's going to be pressured out of this lane pretty heavily, I think, as the draws on.
And he's got a couple mana potions. In fact, I think he's got one ticking right now, but you're right, it is going to take a little bit of time for him to get ready to clear in that solo lane. And that's a thing that it's difficult to play with as that Xingqian in the solo lane, especially up against Osiris, where it is just a ton of damage throughout the early game, and Osiris is going to continue to keep pressuring that right side consistently.
And plus, when you combine the bots on top of that, you just never really know when you can anticipate those ganks coming around the corner, and we've already seen him leaning towards the invade side of things, so yeah. I would expect him to spend a lot of time emphasizing onto that solo lane, really trying to prevent as much farm as possible.
Got a quick pause here between CAZ and Quantum, waiting to get back into game. These are the two teams trying to defend their spots in the European SCL during these summer relegations. And you talked about it during the picks and bans, where CAZ really is lacking initiation. I think they're also lacking pressure or basically across the map. Chang'e and Xingqian going to get invaded consistently by Hunbat's Osiris. We talked about that a lot. But even on the left side of the map and in the mid lane, they really don't outclear their opposition particularly heavily. And if they're not able to get any sort of pressure, we see it time and time again, where teams have no pressure across the map, they never really even get a chance to fight in because the opposition just gets so far ahead off of invades.
This early game stage is going to primarily come down to CAZ's individual player abilities at this point, because they just have to be concerned primarily about, like you mentioned, the early game pressure. They're aware that the invades are going to be coming through consistently, so as long as they're playing it passively, taking up the safe counter-engage fights, then they'll be all right. But if they try to look for the early aggression counter-engage, I think that'll be a little bit too much too soon. And so they just need to back off, allow themselves that time to farm up, and if they can make it into that mid-late game stage, their composition really comes to play.
I agree with you. I mean, the double Hunter is really, really strong, but you combine that with the Fafnir, who's going to continue to get stronger as the game goes on. That Coerce getting maxed out when you can hit 2 Hunters with it, even when one is Neath that's really more mid to, or early to mid-game oriented, that is difficult to handle even if you have a lead.
It's the Hu Yi that I'll be looking for when the Coerce starts to come into play, because all you have to do is just get that ultimate off, and when you have factor in the sun's raining down on top of people, it's just, there's so much AoE and a lot of individual locking when you factor in the Chang'e ult and the Neath ultimates. I imagine that CAZ is probably going to be able to kill whoever they want to once the mid-game starts to activate.
Overpowered still having a little bit of trouble on that right-hand side, sitting down level 4 to Mango Man's level 5. And again, that just comes back to those invades that Osiris is able to do on that right-hand side, and that's been the story thus far. Quantum has really controlled those right side buffs, at least through the first rotation or so. CAZ, you mentioned that Dobson's the one you're looking at in the later stages once that Coerce gets maxed out, but who's the one to carry them through the early game and get them through this rough period?
That's the difficult portion, is that it'll be so incredibly difficult. It's not necessarily one player in particular. This really comes down to just how well can Jerome and Alexum work together to buy as much time as possible, because it's not necessarily about losing lane pressure as much as, or winning the lane pressure as much as it is just not losing it out entirely. You can not be winning a lane, but still not necessarily losing it at the same time. It's that happy balance, and you just want to try and play it as passively as possible.
It looks like the Gold Fury is the call here for CAZ, as the rest of Quantum, they're on the right-hand side getting these oracles. The transformation coming through here from Mush. Love this call out of the console veterans. Joey's got no idea. He's the only one on this side of the map, and CAZ able to propel themselves a little bit closer to that late game they want to get to. An early Gold Fury, 3.5 minutes in. CAZ now with about 1,000 gold lead. Not
to mention that just removes so much map pressure concern that CAZ might have potentially had to worry about, considering how much early game presence Quantum has. That could have been Quantum's Gold Fury if they put a little bit more emphasis onto that side of the map, but they just want to focus out these speed buffs, these blue buffs off cooldown. But Overpowered USB isn't even really that far behind. He's still maintaining the same level as Mango Man.
Alexum and Jaron need to be in a little bit, could be in a little bit of trouble, but Coach Killy instead decides to just head back and help his mid laner clear. Coach Killy spent the majority of the spring split in the solo lane for Quantum, now moving to support with Dinosaur leaving. That was the real leader for this team, still trying to find their way without him. Mango Man is going to use that Lord of the Afterlife to get away from the Xing Chen ultimate. Overpowered USB able to trade ult for ult in that scenario. And I think that favors CAZ more so than Quantum in this stage.
Definitely, because now it prevents Mango Man from looking for that early rotation to try and help out Sir Duckbot in the mid lane. And just now, Quantum probably recognizing, hey, there's a Gold Fury not here, guys.
Jaron putting good damage onto Sir Duckbot, but now he's got no mana. Alexum got baited into danger. Wild Hunt released by Joey, but the snipe from Sir Duckbot doesn't find the home, and so Alexum is going to be able to escape with his life. No first blood quite yet, but a lot of aggression there around the oracles.
A little bit more range on that raw snipe, and he might have been able to catch him on the very corner of that wall, but I'd say that's a very lucky engagement for Alexum to just sneakily slide out of.
Yeah, I guess Jaron just baits him in there. I mean, he finds a good ultimate, but no mana to follow up afterwards. Pretty risky there out of the mid-jungle combination as Dobson and Joey go at it in this duo lane. Kernanos versus Hui is a matchup we actually saw quite a bit of during SMITE Masters. Who do you think gets the better end of this one, Taco?
Early on, I would probably give it to the Hui just because of the lane clear presence, and a lot of it also falls onto the support that you're paired with in the lane. As an Athena Kern combination, you don't necessarily have the pressure from the levels 1 through 3, especially against Hui Fafnir, but having the threat of that taunt coming at any point in time from levels 4 onward, I'd say tends to favor the Kern just because he has such a low cooldown on his 2 that the clear and poke damage is very easy to maintain.
Joey uses Purification Beads when he got hit by that World Weaver coming out of Alexum, and Dobson uses his there to get out of the taunt and entangled root combination. So both Hunters now without their beads, and Malloy's made the rotation, and he's going to be looking for the Hunter, but Mush going to stop him from jumping after him. Sir Duckbot's going to claim first blood with that Searing Pain off the Fear No Evil. It wasn't the Hunter they were looking for, but Quantum still come out with the first blood.
And that is definitely in favor of Quantum. They expend a couple of ultimates there, using the boss ultimate and the raw, but considering that the Gold Fury is down anyway, you might as well use as many ultimates as possible to secure a kill, because CAZ aren't going to be looking for an early game team fight.
No, not at all. They're trying to farm up and get these Hunters ready to go, getting Jaron ready to go on this Chunga in the jungle. And with Sir Duckbot's ult being on such a low cooldown, look, it's already almost up. It's halfway there in terms of being back up, specifically with that Sands of Time. Dobson getting dove on this left-hand side. Should eventually fall, but Coach Killy isn't able to find the kill. Finally gets the last hit, but Dobson's able to trade out 1-for-1 there. That's best case scenario for a Hunter that looked dead to rights.
That's 100% in Dobson's favor, because typically you'd be happy having the 1v2 and just the guaranteed kill, but considering he was able to pick up the return, it completely wastes all the pressure that they were trying to imply there.
Oh no, Overpowered USB was dead meat, but he baits himself long enough, and Alexum's able to find Malloy's in response. Mango Man still has his ultimate, decided not to use it as the Defender of Olympus comes down as he stands in the heel. Decent damage there. Onto Mush. The searing pain comes out from Sir Duckbot, but not enough to knock him down. Overpowered USB is teleported back in and finds 2 with that pickup. Actually finds 0 after the purification beads from Sir Duckbot and the ultimate out of Mango Man, but this Raw still in trouble. Jeron trying to chase him down with no ultimates left to go. I think that's going to be it. Somehow, Overpowered USB survives, and it's Molloy's who pays the price.
I'm honestly pretty shocked that it was able to turn so quickly, but I guess that's kind of the threat that you face if you're taking that long to secure a kill against a Neath Chang'e combination.
I think it was just Mango Man trusting his jungler to try and pick that kill up, but should have just ulted and secured it. Every single time you want to just ult and secure it, and then maybe you could get out of danger there. So bad news bears for Quantum as they lose 1 on that solo side. Lucky that Mush doesn't fall as well after that ultimate out of Coach Killy. 2-2. Read the kills. CAZ up about 800 gold at this stage of the game, and that's a win for them considering they've got the later game composition between the Chang'e, Jungle, the Double Guardian, and the Double Hunter. Whereas Quantum, they're looking for the more team fight-oriented, big 5v5 disruption ultimates from both Molloy's and Joey.
Quantum really just need to get in and get out a lot more often. These kills need to be secured much faster than what they have been going right now. Otherwise, they could very easily find themselves getting snowballed should they keep losing their picks to the side of CAZ.
And CAZ, they're just trying to wait it out, as we mentioned. Sir Duckbot's had a pretty solid game on this Raw thus far. The snipe conversion rate has been there, but not to pick up that first blood by those Gold Fury Oracles, but instead, on the left-hand side, he helped pick up first blood, and then on the right, almost knocked down Mush. So his transition out of Hunter into mid has looked pretty fruitful thus far as Dobson finds a nice ricochet on the Joey in the duo lane.
That's always the fun part about this Kairon Huyi, but now it's actually going to be Dobson getting the better end of things.
Joey dashes forward, but Dobson finds him with the ricochet off the wall. Joey does clean up Dobson in response, so 1 for 1 thus far, but CAZ want to keep on going. Stun onto Sir Duckbot, great Moonlit Waltz as well, and there's going to be the kill. Mush finds the kill onto Sir Duckbot, 2-1 now in favor of CAZ, but Mango Man's made the rotation. He's looking for Jeron, the Lord of the Afterlife, roots the jungler in place. Molloy's finds his first kill of the game, and Mush might be next. Transforms at the wrong time, ran out of timer on that draconic form. Love Mango Man's positioning, waiting for the jump, but can't quite find the slow.
That slow would have been the guaranteed kill.
Yeah, that would have been it.
I'm convinced because he had the damage available. Just a couple more in-hands would have definitely secured it. And now Alexum's left alone to try and defend this purple buff against Mango Man. But I'm not sure level 10 Neath really wants to try and box up against the level 12 Osiris.
But with Dobson respawning and heading back level 11, I think that's a smart play by Mango Man to give up that buff invade. CAZ and Quantum again go 2 for 2. So now we're at 4 for 4 overall. These two teams pretty evenly matched through 10.5 minutes, almost 11 now. About 1,200 gold in the lead for CAZ, but the experience is about 2,000 for Quantum. Again, that gold lead really going back to that early Gold Fury that CAZ was able to secure, whereas the experience difference, that's coming from Quantum invading buffs on the right-hand side.
I've got to hand it to Coach Killy, though, especially after that last engagement. The only reason why Joey was able to trade out with Dobson was because he managed to find the taunt back into Joey's damage. And had that not happened, I think that definitely would have been the turning point for this duo lane. Dobson's already trying to play this matchup much more aggressively, so if he keeps finding the jump stuns onto Joey, it's very easy for Huyi to get the upper hand in these box engagements.
That Defender of Olympus was also huge in that engagement, just to allow Joey to live long enough to get his damage off so that he could find that return kill onto Dobson. Joey coming back to lane after helping his mid laner secure those oracles on the left-hand side. Gold Fury has respawned, been up for quite some time, getting a little bit tankier now as we reach the early parts of the mid-game. Molloy's has a slight lead, I would say, in terms of damage, certainly in that jungle, but about a little bit ahead in terms of XP as well, I believe, over Jeron again. All going back to those invades on the right, but CAZ has kind of weathered the storm in terms of handling Mango Man. He hasn't been out of control on that side. Yes, he comes over and makes an impact on that duo lane fight, whereas Overpowered USB does not, but again, you're just waiting for these late stages of the game to allow CAZ to really have their composition shine.
And it's going to be difficult for CAZ, I think, for the next few minutes especially, just because you can tell that Quantum are recognizing they're starting to approach that point in the game where if they don't do something now, they might not be able to do anything later on. So I'd kind of expect Quantum to take up the more aggressive front at this point.
2 Sunders, 1 for each solo laner, just trying to augment their damage towards the later stages of the game. And for 2 different reasons. Mango Man has plenty of damage in his kit, but it starts to fall off towards the later stages, so he's trying to keep his damage relevant longer. But overpowered USB is there for CC and control, but with that Sunder, it can start to become more of a damage option.
I'd really like to see a Shell on the side of Quantum, considering how much AoE presence CAZ has available, plus the covers and the double ADCs. I think a Shell could be really impactful as far as team fights are concerned, especially since both these compositions are team fight oriented.
Gold Fury started up by Quantum, but the teleport in from overpowered USB prevents them from going in. The knock up onto Coach Killy, plenty of CC onto the support, but they still haven't knocked him down quite yet. The Fear No Evil was good coming out of Malloy's, and Coach Killy's able to escape for the moment. Overpowered USB finally finds him after chasing him down, but he may pay for his life. Sun's coming over the top, but the Mango Man rotation around the back is gonna prove fruitful. He finds overpowered USB and is now handling 3 on the backside. 2 for 1 thus far. Sir Duckbot, no ultimate. Now Mango Man's controlled as the rest of CAZ just turn and burn on the solo laner. Now 3 for 1. CAZ only losing their solo, and now the Gold Fury's next.
That's a free Gold Fury for CAZ without any ultimates to try and contest on the side of Quantum. That's just a Gold Fury you know you have to let go.
CAZ really looking in control thus far, Taco, up about 3,000 gold now. And we've talked about it quite a bit. They're the ones with the later game composition. So this is bad news for Quantum. They know that this composition is only getting stronger as the game goes on. Malloy's in a bad spot, but Mush misses the hammer, so he's going to be able to jump away without much issue. Gold Fury started up, but battle number's pretty low here. Malloy's still waiting on that ultimate, has it up fairly soon. Duckbot has his snipe. He's trying to use it for the objective. Dash taunt forward onto Dobson by Coach Killy. Purification Beats gets him out of range of that snipe. Mango Man handles Jaron in that mid lane. Quantum are the ones that are going to be able to secure this portal demon this time around. CAZ just tried to do a little bit too much with that lead they got on the left side.
Bite off more than you can choose. Pretty much the statement to be made there for CAZ. I think if they'd rotated immediately from the Gold Fury over to that portal demon, they might have been able to secure both with their damage available already, all the 2 hunters. But losing their solo laner and having overpowered USB just starting to funnel his way into the portal demon area, but meanwhile Quantum already had all of their members respawning. That still goes in favor of CAZ though, considering that they were able to secure that Gold Fury. Even with the portal demon being available for Quantum, they can't really do much with it. They're not finding very favorable matchups when it comes to these engages.
And even though that CAZ has the gold lead, Quantum continues to be right there, if not ahead, in terms of overall XP. The only person who's got a level deficit is Sir Duckbot in the mid lane, and that's it. I mean, in fact, Malloy still has a level over top of Jaron. Everyone else is basically even. Coach Killy with a level over top of Mush as well. So Quantum's still certainly in this game. Could only take one team fight for them to really snowball and get back into this one.
The primary issue here, though, is that Chang'e. Again, Jaron has just been such a devastating factor with his Moonlight Waltzes evading all of the damage, and then you have to consider his ultimate has just been stunning out everybody. Anytime that Quantum wants to engage, they just have to answer to Chang'e.
Dobson comes around the backside and drops the Suns to prevent Quantum from sieging down their middle tier 1. Defended successfully from CAZ. Stun on Malloy's, force out his Purification Beats. Mush getting taunted there by Coach Killy. Not a whole lot to write home about there. A couple ultimates used, mostly on the side of CAZ. It was Dobson, Mush, and Jaron all using their ultimates, but tier 1 tower does stand, but that health, I mean, is that really even standing? It's anytime anyone from Quantum wants 500 gold, they can just waltz in and sneeze on the tier 1 tower in mid.
Quantum are just, that's one of those instances where you let the tower stand because you're waiting for the perfect moment to engage. Ideally, Quantum would want to find a pick, potentially even 2, and then look to siege down the mid lane, considering that that's not a safety. Like, there's no protection coming from that T1 tower right now on the side of CAZ.
And exactly, and Alexum is on a character that is pretty vulnerable in that mid lane without any sort of tower to run to. Neath, yes, has the backflip, but in terms of being able to easily catch up to an escape, backflip pretty much the worst in terms of creating space for yourself. In fact, Sir Duckbot decides he could use that gold right now, but he's one auto short. The tower is still standing.
Alexum's looking for it though, but Setup not quite available just yet for CAZ.
Jaron gonna head over to a speed buff. Alexum all by himself in that mid lane. Backflips in time to get out of the taunt there from Coach Killy. But Coach Killy continues to get a lot of farm. Basically everyone is pretty evenly farmed in this game, and that's usually a bad sign for mid laners and hunters, where you're the same level or very close to the same level as a support. It can be very difficult to punch through that natural tankiness of these characters if you're not significantly leveled over them.
Quantum has been playing surprisingly safe. I think that's primarily due to the fact that they just lost so many of those early engagements to the counters by CAZ. So now they're concerned, if we don't get the pick immediately, then we just have to fall back. But you don't want to necessarily give them the time for that.
Taunt there onto Mush. Alexum again is able to get out of that crowd control coming out of Coach Killy. Might be able to just dash forward and force out that backflip before the taunt and then save it for someone else with Alexum using it this early on, but that's basically what he has to do. He can't really afford to get taunted. A couple mind games available, and I think that's one of my favorite things about Athena is how many sort of just little tricks you can pull to try and guarantee the most value out of that taunt.
He only needs it one time though. He just needs to catch Alexum one time with that taunt, and if Alexum gets caught in his backflip, then he just has to have the concern. He's most likely going to have to burn his beats. Almost
certainly, exactly. There's just so much damage off that taunt. It isn't the Poseidon Whirlpool that we saw earlier on last time up against CAZ, but it is a lot of damage. I mean, even the Celestial Beam out of Rod this stage does quite a bit, can really chunk down an enemy backliner. That's going to be the plan for Quantum. Joey trying to bait Dobson in, but Coach Kelly waiting in the wings, dashes forward, and Dobson jumps away. Coach Kelly doing a lot of dashing forward and watching people jump away from him thus far, but as you mentioned, only needs one to really turn this game around. Quantum, they're going to start up this Gold Fury. They've got that Searing Pain available if they want to just try and do this right in CAZ's face to secure it, but that Fear No Evil is jumped out of by Alexum. Now Malloy's is in trouble. Waxing Moon from Jaron hits absolutely nobody. An overpowered USB forces out the beats from Malloy's. Good taunt there out of Coach Killy, and a big snipe coming out of Sir Duckbot, but not enough damage to knock anybody down. Malloy's going to eat that World Weaver as Alexum steps forward, but can't quite find that Spirit Arrow. CAZ going to be able to back up as Mango Man finally makes his rotation, but the fight's already over and done with. No one is able to find a kill on either side.
And Quantum are actually going to opt to back first of all, which is kind of risky looking at it, but they do have the Athena ultimate. Coach Kelly is going to be returning safely now, and so CAZ are just going to have to fall back from this.
But again, both teams have some sustain, so neither has to worry about getting poked out too heavily. Coach Kelly can't quite find the taunt that time around. You can see the sustain a little bit stronger thus far for Jaron, but Raw's sustain takes a little bit longer to get going. It is a longer heal over time instead of that burst heal from the Chang'e. Tier 1 tower finally falls for Quantum. That's 500 gold, 100 gold per player across the board. And Joey is back in full health, and he's looking at the Gold Fear here, Taco.
This is also a very smart play by Quantum. Immediately sieging the T1 tower opens up the Gold Fury, and they know that CAZ doesn't have any ultimates available other than the Shing 10.
Jaron again misses the ult. Frenzy pops as they try and turn onto Mango, but Alexum and Mush are separated from the solo laner. Another win here for Quantum as they get not only the ultimate out of Jaron, but that big team fight frenzy down as well. Jaron forced back to base, and Quantum now going to try and do the Gold Fury right in front of the opposition, knowing that their jungler is no longer there. Malloy's has that Fear No Evil back, ready to go. Sunder on top of Alexum, and Mango Man's doing it all by himself, trying to make sure that he can get it away, but CAZ, they stole the Gold Fury on the backside, I think. No, it was actually Quantum who was able to secure that. They already had two. Alexum finds Mango Man finally, doesn't fall to the damage out of the solo laner as Malloy's jumps forward. He's getting pretty low, and CAZ are going to try and clean him up.
And it's so unfortunate that Drone is just unable to find the very last one. There it is, finally cleans up Malloy's, as now Quantum are just looking to try and disengage off of that failed bot's ultimate.
But again, Quantum, they secured their own Gold Fury thanks to the snipe out of Sir Duckbot. They get that gold lead very, very close together now. 9-5, CAZ still lead in terms of kills, but Quantum right there in terms of gold. Dobson putting quite a bit of damage here onto Coach Kelly. He's gonna jump forward and try and find this kill. The shell is popped, the body blocks are good, and Joey's gonna make Dobson pay for going aggressive onto Coach Kelly. Misplay there out of the Hunter. A little bit too greedy, I'd say, Taco.
A little bit of unnecessary greed, but that did distract Quantum enough to permit CAZ to secure the Portal Demon on the opposite side of the map.
And that's big. That's a little bit more global gold, where Dobson has to take a seat and loses some own personal gold. the rest of his team gets a little bit more of a boon. Mango Man did a great job there of zoning away 3, almost killed Alexum, but anytime you're losing your solo laner for a mid-game Gold Fury, that's going to be worth it for you in the end.
If Malois had managed to find the bot's ultimate onto anybody after the Gold Fury Secure had come through, though, that would have 100% been Quantum's fight.
A little bit unfortunate.
It's just so unfortunate when you see that come through. I probably anticipated the enemy team to push forward a little bit more and look for the attack engage, because typically when teams lose a big objective like the Gold Fury at this stage in the game, you want to just try and aggress, see how many picks you can get, because if you can secure at least 3 kills, sometimes even 2, that's more than enough to look for tower sieges. And then on top of that, it's just counter out. It's negating the gold.
Sir Duckbot accidentally took that ultimate from Aloys in the mid lane, but he's got that sustain. He's going to get picked up and tossed back with the Purification Beads. Gets him out. Nice double snipe out of the mid lane Raw, but he's still got to be worried about overpowered USB. A little bit too much out of overpowered USB. He's going to fall, as does the tier 1 tower for Quantum. CAZ able to secure that for themselves, but all the while, Joey's been on this left-hand side, Taco. He got the tier 1, he's got the tier 2. That's 2,000 gold. Quantum only lose 500, and they get the kill onto overpowered USB, playing the map very, very well right now.
Joey was just chilling. He's AFK split pushed at that point in time, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Risky call here coming out of Quantum, trying to catch CAZ sleeping. They started the Fire Giant, and once CAZ show their head, immediately turn tail and run. Joey was still heading back from base after his split push on the left-hand side. This gold lead, very, very slim, 800 gold for Quantum, but the experience lead is not. A solid 5,000 gold in the lead for the Challenger Cup challengers.
And that's exactly a spot that you'd want to be, especially with this kind of composition. When you look at it for CAZ Esports especially, you don't want to permit any sort of evenness throughout the game, not against a healer composition like Sir Duckbot is running with this Raw. Raw provides so much more sustain in the long run in comparison to the Chang'e that as long as his positioning is on point, his team is going to be perfectly fine throughout these long-term engagements.
Now, you do have to stand still in that Raw heal, whereas Chang'e can just kind of dance around you and heal you up and top you off, but you're right, Quantum, these guys are trying to defend their SCL spot. Misspoke a little bit earlier. They are not the Challenger Cup team. They are also defending their spot here in the summer relegations, but these guys are filled with a couple guys who have been around the scene for quite some time. Sir Duckbot, new to console, but has been around the SMITE scene for a little bit. Mango Man has been on console for quite some time. Maloys as well. Coach Kelly came to LAN. These are guys that have been there, done that. Just a matter of can they continue to be there and do that and win their spot back in the SCL.
And now it's Mango Man trying to take up a little bit of an aggressive stance against the members of CAZ, but I'm not sure that's the spot he wants to be right now.
Again, the Fire Giant started up. Quantum feel very comfortable despite being pretty even in gold here with CAZ. Joey gonna get knocked up, taking quite a bit of damage from that Fire Giant objective. Alexum already in trouble. Maloys used that Fear No Evil, but the double jumps were off the mark. Alexum gonna get sniped by Sir Duckbot, but still survives. Overpowered, handling 4 on that backside, and a big waxing moon coming out of Jeron forces Joey into the Aegis. The retreat is on here from Quantum as Mango Man gets hit by that World Weaver. Big taunt out of Coach Killy. Frenzy popped by CAZ, but no remaining chase down available to them. They're gonna have to heal up courtesy of Jeron, where Quantum tries to do the same thanks to the Raw sustain.
But the Frenzy pop already prevents CAZ from being able to just immediately burst down this FG, and now Coach Killy has got the ultimate. Quantum are going to be re-engaging.
Mush gonna get knocked up and controlled. Joey gets the last hit, but shouts to Fire Giant. He's the one who did the real MVP work there for Quantum. Now with the 5v4, they're gonna try and do this Fire Giant once more. Mango Man harassing Dobson, trying to get him out of the fight. Fire Giant falling very low, and it will be secured here. Quantum gonna get the first Fire Giant of the game, 26.5 minutes in, and Quantum have the FG.
And that's probably the worst case scenario for CAZ right now, considering that this game was so even for so long, and then just one little bit of over-aggression, and that's all that it took for Quantum to just immediately have Coach Kelly fall right back into line.
And that was a good defense by CAZ, getting Quantum off the Fire Giant. They stopped them from doing the objective. Everyone's low, and then CAZ just decides to start Fire Giant with 4 members of Quantum being there. It only Coach Kelly was in base, but he's Athena and has ultimate and gets back there very, very quickly. Just a miscall there from CAZ really costs them.
And Mango Man also had his teleport available as Osiris, which is the main reason why we saw him backing at the moment that he did. And so now the rest of this map is pretty much going to be Quantum's playground.
They already got that Gold Fury Portal Demon as well, and I love that Portal Demon pickup because look at where the towers are that Quantum's going to be sieging down, mid and right. They don't have to worry about going to the left side, so that Portal going to give them a little bit of extra mileage as they go back, spend their gold, and get right back to it, starting this siege up. Now, CAZ only down about 4,000 gold. Again, still down in XP, basically across the board. Coach Killy over Mush has really been the biggest difference for me. Coach Killy's sitting at level 18. Mush is only level 14, a 4-level difference between the supports.
Coach Killy has just been all over the map, and a large portion of that can be accredited to the fact that he is Athena, so he can rotate a lot more freely than what Mush can, but you just have to constantly still be wary for Quantum because one misstep could definitely be an easy tower defense by CAZ.
Coach Killy finds 2 with the taunt. Good damage. A snipe is good onto Mush, who's not even going to be able to transform. Joey finds the first kill of this engagement. Malloy's blinks into the backline and finds that Fear No Evil, forcing out both Joey and Alexum. Tier 2 tower falls as Mango Man continues to chase down Dobson. World Weaver's good peel for the Hunter. Mango Man's not going to be able to clean up this kill. Going to take a little bit of damage underneath that Phoenix, but a lot of attention paid to the solo laner where the rest of Quantum is charging down the right side. Alexum falls low. Joey was more worried about the kill than the tower, but it doesn't matter as Quantum cleans up that right side Phoenix.
Joey is absolutely bloodthirsty right now. For him to be willing to chase down past the Phoenix and just completely ignoring it, just like, hey team, I need you guys to kill this objective while I try and kill Alexum.
I mean, Alexum barely able to escape, had to use his purification beads in that scenario. Overpowered USB trying to do his own escape route, just able to get out of range of that snipe. Tier 2 tower mid was there a moment ago, no longer. Can say the same about the Phoenix. Now the mid and right side Phoenixes fall as Quantum continues to push down CAZ. There's a big game for both these teams. These are the 2 teams that are trying to defend their relegation spots. And usually in these scenarios, the team that wins this is in a good spot to go back to the SCL. The Lexum and Jeron still trying to chase down Mango Man as overpowered USB jumped into the entirety of Quantum, and Malloy says, what are you doing, dog? He's gonna find his second kill. Great snipe again out of Sir Duckbot, but Alexum still able to survive for the moment until Malloy finds it around the back. Joey cleans up Dobson as well. Jeron on the run, not gonna be turned into the pig, but Malloy is gonna be able to chase down the jungler, I imagine here, especially with the help of Coach Killy. Good Waxing Moon separates Jeron from the support. Still trying to get away, and Malloy's gonna teleport forward and hit him with the crit. 4 down, only Mush, and I don't think it's gonna be long before their Titan turns to mush. Quantum takes down CAZ in 30 minutes, getting their first